Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Mel McKay. In accordance with the shelter-in-place order, we'll be speaking to our guests remotely today. So let's get right to it. Inge Houston is the president of the Dublin Chamber of Commerce and is joining us now to let us know how the shelter-in-place order has affected local businesses in Dublin. Thank you so much for joining us, Inge.
Thank you for having me, Mel. I appreciate it.
Oh, good to have you. Let's first off talk about what the Dublin Chamber of Commerce's mission is and how it's been changed while people are in quarantine.
Well, our mission is to enhance the community in the city of Dublin by creating a strong local economy. The shelter in place has affected a lot of businesses with closures, but many essential businesses are open, but have a new way of doing business in order to ensure employee and customer safety. Therefore, my work is mainly focused on communication and advocation work.
Excellent. So what are some of the ways that you've found to overcome the challenges with people in the shelter-in-place order, observing that and still doing your job? How are you doing it, Inge?
Well, a lot of remote work, a lot of phone calls. Our job mostly is to collect and distribute information during this crisis, and we've basically become a clearinghouse for information for Dublin businesses. I get calls every day about health, finance, and labor. We've increased our electronic communications to outline the CARES Act and various economic relief options for businesses. So I'm trying to make it simple and easy to understand because it's a lot of information.
Absolutely. How are you helping people, as of course we want to continue to support our local businesses? How are you helping us do that with a shelter-in-place order? If a business is closed, how do we continue to support it?
Well, you can continue to support businesses by first getting maybe food to go or working with buy some gift cards, get on social media and follow the business, help shop online, and leave positive reviews for local vendors and businesses. Stay in the loop, keep your membership and services that are still online, as well as say thank you, because many business owners and workers are taking risks to their personal health in order to provide critical products and services. So be thankful. That would really help.
Absolutely. So many people out there putting themselves on the front lines so that we can observe the shelter in place. So they definitely deserve a lot of our thanks. And what are some of the ways that local businesses are helping to keep customers safe with the shelter in place order?
Well, that's a good question. There's going to be a new way of doing business. And as a society, we're going to have to up our game when it comes to sanitation and healthy habits. Through my website, I have links to the CDC, the California Department of Public Health, and the Alameda County Health Department. All outline best practices for businesses to protect customers, but also their employees. So when we come out of this, there'll be a new way of doing things until there's a vaccine or the majority of people have built up antibodies to the virus. So wash your hands, don't cover your mouth, and use a tissue if you sneeze or cough. And
it's such an interesting time. So before we let you go, Inge, please tell us where all of our listeners and viewers can find out more about the Dublin Chamber of Commerce or apply for their business to become a member.
Ooh, that would be wonderful. Yes, the Dublin Chamber of Commerce is here to help. Our website is dublinchamberofcommerce.org, and we have membership applications there, or you can download one and fill it out by paper. My phone number is 925-828-6200. Again, 925-828-6200. We're here to assist, listen, and help navigate you to find the resources your business needs to get through this crisis and beyond.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Inge. Stay safe and stay strong.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Inge. We have to take a short break, but stick around. We'll be back with Melanie Sadek from Valley Humane Society. Welcome back. Melanie Sadek is now joining us from Valley Humane Society to tell us some of the ways they've found to work around the shelter-in-place order. Thanks for joining us, Melanie. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
So first off, let's talk about Valley Humane Society's mission and how people in quarantine has affected your ability to conduct that mission.
So Valley Humane Society is dedicated to supporting adoptable cats and dogs that need new homes, but also supporting people in our communities. We have a very robust pet therapy program. We have humane education. We have an Animals pet food pantry. So this has been a challenging time for our organization, just like everyone else. We are considered essential. So a lot of our employees are still working. We have animals in our shelter. Mostly they're in foster, but some of them that are sick or weren't easily moved are still there. And so we've had to kind of figure out how to make programming and adoptions virtual.
That's a challenge. Crazy, I bet. So how have you overcome those challenges with the shelter-in-place order in effect?
So we were probably one of the first, if not the first, shelters to start doing virtual adoptions. This was important for us because we know that these public shelters are probably going to see an influx of what's considered emergency pets. These are pets that would be pulled in if 911 was called and somebody had to take an animal owner to the hospital. Then animal control needs to have space in their shelter to care for those pets while the owner is getting well. And so we wanted to make sure that we continue to pull animals from those shelters into our facility and into our foster homes, but there's only so much space. And so we moved our adoptions to a virtual platform. Essentially, people go on our website, they see the animals that are available, and they just email us at info@valleyhumane.org. And then it all starts from there. So everything is via email until we do a pretty quick 15-minute kind of at the shelter, social distancing, respected adoption.
That is so cool. I love that. But right now, you don't need fosters. What do you need, since we're talking about what you don't need?
Well, one of the crazy things that we probably didn't even think about was that because we have a facility, we usually only put animals into foster care that aren't ready for adoption. So maybe they're not well, they might be too young. But now we have all of our animals in foster care for the most part, and we don't have enough supplies. So on our homepage, valleyhumane.org, on the bottom right, we have our Amazon wish list. And so anybody who wants to help us with some of our kitten foster program needs, adult dogs, adult cats, puppies, all those wish lists are listed so people can help us. We're also we understand that this is a crazy financial time for many people in our community, but we are hopeful that our donors and possibly new donors will support us. It is often the nonprofits that are working behind the scenes to keep everything going and to support those who are truly affected. That still need that financial support, and we rely on the community. So really anything people can do for us is appreciated.
Excellent. But at this point in time, what do we know about COVID-19 and pets being susceptible to the coronavirus?
So what we know right now is that people probably cannot get COVID-19 from an animal. But there has been very small evidence to say that maybe people can give it to animals. Mm-hmm. So the American Veterinary Medical Association is recommending that if you or someone in your household comes down with COVID-19, that you should quarantine away from your animals. One thing that is positive is that if animals are getting it, it seems to be that the symptoms aren't that big. So that it's not a big deal for the animals. So that's positive, but really out of an abundance of caution, they're recommending that you distance yourself from your animals if you're diagnosed.
Okay. This really to another thing that we really do need to work on is having a plan. As you said in the beginning of the interview, if heaven forbid, I came down with symptoms and was taken somewhere, then a shelter would be called to take away my Yorkie, correct?
That's true. But most important, and the message all of us are trying to get out, is that you should rely on a family, friend, neighbor, someone you know and trust. Call them now and ask them if you were to get sick and needed to be hospitalized, if they could do temporary care for your animal. There is nothing better than peace of mind that your animals are being well cared for while you're not around.
Absolutely. Excellent point. I appreciate that so much. And again, your website for the form, what's that?
valleyhumane.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melanie. Always a pleasure. Stay safe and stay strong, and give those little fur babies some snuggles for me.
Thank you.
Well, we do have to take a short break, but we'll be back with Steve Van Dorn from Pleasanton Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back. Steve Van Dorn, CEO of Pleasanton Chamber of Commerce, is joining us now to let us know how the shelter-in-place order has affected local businesses in Pleasanton. Thanks for joining us, Steve. How you holding up?
Hanging in there, doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for being here. And at least we have the day and age of technology so we can communicate safely. First off, let's talk about the Pleasanton Chamber of Commerce's mission and how people in quarantine has affected your ability to carry out that mission.
Well, we have three fundamental pillars that we rely upon for our mission. We try to be the catalyst for business and economic growth, the convener of leaders and influencers, and the champion for a stronger and healthy community. And quite frankly, it's been very difficult to continue to carry those out during this very challenging time. The catalyst of being a business and economic growth organization has also been very challenging. But we are trying to get out the message about loans and opportunities for the restaurants and businesses that are still open and providing services to our community. Being the champion for our business community has also been challenging as well, but we are supporting a coalition, for example, that's trying to bring insurance coverage to businesses that normally don't receive it. It's called business interruption insurance, and it currently isn't covered by a pandemic, but we're trying to get that changed from the federal government, and we're hoping that happens. But we're doing our best to get the message out there and communicating to our members.
Excellent. Yeah, that definitely is a challenge. What are some of the ways that we can continue to support our local businesses in Pleasanton with the quarantine in effect, and say even on those businesses that perhaps are closed during the shelter-in-place order?
So the way we're doing that is we're promoting the businesses that are still open on our website. We're also promoting the restaurants that are still open, along with many others in our community. So if you go to our homepage, pleasanton.org, you'll see on the left corner there's a COVID-19 button. You click on that, and it takes you to all the businesses that we've been alerted of that are still operating, that are essential. And it also lists all the restaurants that are still serving food for pickup and takeaway. So that's one of the things we're trying to do right now. But again, I just can't say it strong enough just to be careful, follow the rules, and keep your 6 feet away from folks when you're walking in your neighborhood.
Absolutely. I'm sure you are filtering questions about how the businesses in Pleasanton can continue to operate safely for both their employees and those people that might be coming in while observing the shelter-in-place guidelines. How has that been for you? Are you getting a lot of influx from people coming to you for advice on how to continue operating safely?
Yeah, the Alameda County has done a great job, as well as the city of Pleasanton, in getting that information out, and the Pleasanton Downtown Association. We've also tried to do that. It's important that the essential businesses do follow those rules and the new order that the county sent out on March 31st. There's a social distancing protocol document that each business has to fill out and have it posted at their business if they are considered essential. So very careful that they and that they have that posted, because there are folks walking around looking for those. So if you don't have them up, you could get a fine. So please be sure you have those posted.
But I think the biggest thing is, the takeout and delivery. Most of the businesses that are open are more restaurant services. Am I correct with that, Stephen?
Yeah, there are, and there's others that are still operating. The banks. There's computer companies, of course, our healthcare workers, and I just take a moment to thank all of them that are doing everything they are to support our community. The nurses, the doctors, so important. So those are obviously still operating, and there's business like printing and that are still doing things by abiding with those rules. So there are more than just restaurants open at this time.
Absolutely. I imagine you're directing everyone to your website for a bevy of information of how to conduct things during a shelter in place.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we are directing people to pleasanton.org. And again, click on that the tab that I mentioned, the COVID-19. And for those that may be interested in joining the chamber, which we hope that happens, continues to happen here in the near future, you can just click on our membership button there, and that'll give you information about that. And I'd also like just to take a moment to thank our members that have renewed their membership during this very challenging time. It helps us continue to pay our employees be able to provide the services we've talked about. So I really want to thank all of them for their support.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. Stay safe and stay strong.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Perfect. We do have to take a short break, but we'll be back with Michael D'Ambrosio from Dublin High School. Welcome back. Michael D'Ambrosio is joining us from Dublin High School to let us know how some of the volunteer opportunities that people can take advantage of during the shelter in place. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Healthy and very happy to report that.
That's important.
So tell us about how we can actually help the Tri-Valley Help Program and how it helps people that are in shelter in place. Tell us all about that program.
Sure. So the Facebook page is called Tri-Valley Community Help during Shelter in Place. And it started, ironically enough, on St. Patrick's Day. And I just woke up one day and I was just like, the whole distance learning was kind of finding its way. And I knew that there were, people who at home who needed help. And so I started a Facebook page and invited a bunch of teachers and a bunch of people who I knew. And within a couple of weeks now, we're up to 1,700 members and about 175 volunteers now. We decided to help our local restaurants and support our healthcare workers at the same time. We collected all this money and we bought a bunch of gift cards from all the local restaurants in Livermore, Pleasanton, Dublin, and San Ramon. And we have sent out gift cards to Valley Care and San Ramon Regional. We collected about $5,000. And then we contacted the restaurants that we wanted to help, and a lot of restaurants matched them. So we turned that $5,000 into about $8,000 to $9,000 that we have then split up amongst the hospitals for them to feed their people. But that's not the coolest thing we did. Can I say one more?
Please do. I've got goosebumps just from all that. What else you got?
Ironically enough, last week, someone who works for Hively reached out, and they were talking about their greatest need, which was diapers. And so they normally give out 400 packages of diapers per month, and which is about 16,000 diapers. But during this time, they're giving out way more than that. They're going through that in about 2 or 3 weeks. And because of people that have lost their job and all that kind of stuff, and just people who just need them. And so we reached out, and our group said, what if we can get you 16,000 diapers in a week? And so last Friday, I posted it at 9 a.m. And by 1 p.m., we had more than 16,000 diapers in 4 hours, which today I just did an update. We are almost at 30,000 diapers already in 4 days, and we have until Friday. So now our job is to reach out to big manufacturers and see if they are willing to match our donation. So
wow, yeah, I am so impressed with all the good that you're doing.
It's not me. I do not mean to cut you off, but it's honestly not me. The volunteers are phenomenal. They are amazing, amazing people. If it doesn't really show you what kind of community we have in the Tri-Valley. I don't know what else does. And so the volunteers are really what it's all about. They are phenomenal people.
That is so wonderful. So it's called Tri-Valley Help?
Yes.
Is that the name of the page?
Tri-Valley Community Help during Shelter in Place. If I would have known it would have grown this big, I probably would have shortened the name, but at the time I had no idea.
Well, excellent. And we will, there's so much up there. So go to Tri-Valley Help on Facebook and become a volunteer. Maybe you can do some of this wonderful instantaneous work that you've shared with us today. And then, of course, you're keeping the distance learning up for those kids that won't be able to go to school campuses for the rest of this school year.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. You take care. You stay safe and strong.
Thank you. Stay safe. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks again, Michael. Now, Dawn Argula, the president of Livermore Chamber of Commerce, is joining us now to let us know how the shelter-in-place order has affected local businesses in Livermore. Thanks for joining us, Dawn.
Hi, Mel. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, Dawn. So first off, let's talk about the Livermore Chamber of Commerce's mission and how being in quarantine has affected your ability to actually do your mission.
Okay. Well, during normal times, our mission is to enhance the business environment and quality of life in the Livermore Valley through innovation and leadership, visionary programs, powerful connections.
And now you've had to create a whole new world of how you can do that, your mission now within quarantine. How's that going for you, Dawn?
This is our moment. This is what chambers do. We are here to support the business community. The economy is, of course, deeply affected by the shelter in place. So, we are playing an even bigger role now supporting the business community.
I imagine so. How can we continue to support our local businesses in Livermore while, of course, abiding by the shelter in place guidelines?
Absolutely. So first of all, during the shelter in place, the greatest thing that the community can do is to patronize those businesses that continue to operate. Many have reorganized and regrouped their operations to accommodate the shelter-in-place guidelines and requirements. So just to keep those going, which is helpful. Of course, they are not seeing the revenues they normally would without COVID-19. So that's the least we can do at this point in time. But the other really big concern for me and for our chamber are for those that are not essential businesses right now. So the essential businesses, we're working very hard to support them. And in fact, I'm going to put in a plug-in for a new website we stood up like within the first week after the shelter in place, and that's livermoreupdates.com, which is open to all businesses in Livermore, not just chamber businesses. But we are also worried about those businesses that are not considered essential, that are closed down and have employees that are at home, and that we're trying mightily to continue to keep them on the payroll until the shelter in place is lifted.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a challenge for you to not only worry about your own staffing issues, but all of the businesses that you represent. What was that new website again? That was great news.
Livermoreupdates.com.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. So businesses that are open are posting their information on there. And then it's also a resource page for businesses to access information on the CARES Act and the SBA financial programs, the shelter-in-place orders, the ordinances that are adopted by the city, all of those things that affect our businesses and that they need to have access to and be informed. And we are posting those like real time. As soon as the information comes out, it's posted on there. And then just a note on the gift cards, we have many community support efforts underway where our restaurants and our other businesses are funding meals, groceries for others. So yes, your donations can help those and to keep our workers and our students and others who are really idled right now and can't access these things easily, to help keep them fed and to make sure that they get some basic services while we're in the shelter in place.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all the wonderful information. And your website is?
livermorechamber.org.
Excellent. You take care of yourself, Dawn. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mel. You too. Bye.
Well, that'll do it for this edition of Conversations. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you did, check us out at facebook.com/tv30.org and click that like button. For all of us here at Conversations, I'm Mel McKay. Thanks for joining us.